So yes, translated to mean dead names in the Greek language, this famous grimoire is an anthology of chthonic, lost, forgotten, or dead lore. Most skeptics argue against the legitimate existence of any real Necronomicon. In fact, some people have written entire books doing nothing else but for the sole purpose to debunk the idea of the Necronomicon. And yet they also are the same who are obsessed with this Lovecraftian idea. Then they also seem to wish there was a Necronomicon, but seem so hell-bent on debunking it. In its original form, we are told from Lovecraftian sources, I suppose, that it is called Al-Azif, written by a legendary mad Arab in circa 780 AD in Damascus, and was later at some point translated into Greek. The English version that we are given, as edited by Simon, was released in 1977, and is obviously not the Necronomicon that Lovecraft probably alludes to in his Cthulhu mythos. That does not invalidate Simon's Necronomicon. Again, my personal inclination is that the only subject in question is over the very title, Necronomicon. It still remains to be a fully operable system based heavily on the Sumerian and Babylonian traditions, Mesopotamia, something of interest of myself. And the author of the Necronomicon does not mislead the reader into believing that the very book itself extends back into ancient times. It doesn't purport to be a thousands and thousands of year old ancient book from, prehistory at all. It was written during a time when such a tradition, the original tradition, was actually moving into the backwaters of human consciousness and was fading away. And it may be that the Necronomicon was not meant to exactly verbatim display the information from ancient times, but a way of preserving as best it could the author of a tradition that he knew was fading away. And we see this with other things. The Bardus in Neo-Druidism. The Bardus is an incredible preservation of folklore in the Gaelic Welsh language, a language in and of itself which is in danger of disappearing. So sometimes things are not what they seem. In fact, in most cases, things are not what they seem. And with the Necronomicon, this seems to no less apply. Comparable to that of the Enochian tradition, which is why I always prepare people for learning the Necronomicon by studying the Enochian tradition, is the idea of necronomical tablets, elemental tablets, Watchtower tablets. Necronomicon also possesses 4 Watchtower tablets, each corresponding to a particular direction, element, and it's actually thought by some that the Necronomicon and the Enochian tradition may actually have a single interdimensional, quote-unquote, angelic Anunnaki source behind it. And this was actually kind of alluded to in the About the Book section of Gerald Schuler's Advanced Guide to Enochian Magic, which is now out of print, but the system in that book is actually referred to as that of the Necronomicon, which I thought was incredibly daring by Llewellyn authors of that time. The talismanic images of these tablets can be referenced from the Necronomicon, and we flashed a quick clip of it from Arcanum that's found in both Arcanum and the Merlyn's Magick. And I would recommend making the tablets 1 foot square and when creating any implements for specific to the Necronomicon system, specifically just use the colors black and white. In the case of the tablets, easily black on a white background is standard. In the Anunakian tradition, the tablets were used for deciphering sacred names to be used in that magic system. In the Necronomicon, the tablets are often depicted as a gateway or a portal, such as been seen with the squares and the doorways and the symbolisms and whatnot. And we see similar imagery on the gates to, like, the Babylonian city, the Inanna Gate, which is pretty famous depiction. Actually, I think we have a picture of that too we can flash up. So during the workings, I recommend keeping the symbolism in mind and realize that these seemingly meaningless scribbles are significant to the system, meant to kind of tie your consciousness into the system so that it can actually aid the practitioner in attracting the desired energy.